in that band.
Absolutely. The cool thing for me watching that in the back over there, tucked away in the corner, was just seeing all of the people here mouthing along to every word. I don't know. Is that something that you notice, like when you're performing? Do you see people singing along to songs that you wrote 25 years ago, songs that came out a month ago?
Yeah, actually, yeah. And I notice if you don't.
He's taking names.
No, I mean, you know, it is like the coolest thing about if you're fortunate enough to have any kind of success over a period of time, and by success I just mean being able to keep your job, being able to do this, you know, is that you realize that those songs, they don't just exist here when we're hanging out and, you know, when you guys come to a show or something like that. You find out that they're like a part of everybody's life. Like they're a part of their Saturday nights and their Sunday mornings, and they're a part of love, and they're a part of loss, and they're a part of good and bad times. And so those moments, I think, when you get together with somebody who's been around and people who have been around through the whole thing, that's, I think, what I feel. Is I kind of feel that energy of like everyone has a moment that some song might connect with them in a different way than the person next to them does.
Yeah. And you know, you talk about keeping your job. You've sold 18 million albums between Matchbox and your solo stuff. You know, one of the most successful songwriters of all time. And yeah, give it up for that. That's awesome. I'll mention it because I know you won't. So we were talking upstairs. It's album eve for you right now. Album Chip 2 Smile comes out tomorrow. You know, since we last spoke, which was about a month ago, more songs have come out. People have been reacting to them. What has been your experience sharing these songs so far, anticipating sharing the whole album tomorrow? What are the past few weeks been like for you?
I love that, like when the single came out, I love that I've been getting like peripheral things, you know, like getting stuff like Howard Stern's wife falling in love with my song, and then getting like Carlos to write me, you know, and just be like, this is positive, you know what I mean? Like a lot of my musician friends writing me and songwriters. I think now it's this point where I really am excited about everybody hearing everything in context, right? Like, not everybody in the world, but I feel like the people in this room are people who are inclined to wait, and they're going to sit down from 1 to 12 and kind of go through the whole journey, because there is a journey there. There's ups and downs, there's peaks and valleys, and so I'm excited about everyone hearing these 3 songs, you know, as they kind of heard them. But they're kind of like watching a musical, and before you go see the musical, you heard like 3 cuts from the musical, like from different parts in the show, and you don't know how it all kind of comes together. So I'm excited about everybody like hearing, you know, the entirety of it.
You know, you as part of this event for Songkick Live, you let fans vote on the set list. You played songs that were most requested. One of the most requested was the song you played last, One Less Day, Dying Young. We talked about this a little bit, but just the fan reaction to that song specifically, and you talked about how people have shared their stories with you. How gratifying has that experience been?
Well, again, I think it goes to show that it's a little deeper. Like, there's the mechanics of a music business, right? And there's the mechanics of a music career, which is like, they're pretty supply side. You know, if I do well and people buy it, then I get to keep doing it, that kind of thing. Right. And then there's this whole other side that's way deeper than that, and it goes way deeper. And I understand it because I've bought records, and I have a relationship with music, and that relationship is deeper than that. And these songs are a part of my life, you know. And so it's cool that you could be that to someone else. And a song like this, it's about more than losing your girlfriend, you know. I think a song like that, and everybody kind of has that. Everybody always has that thought about that inevitable door at the end of the hallway. You know what I mean? That nobody wants to talk about, and we amuse ourselves out of, and we do everything we can so we don't have to think about it. But I think sometimes when you think about it, you really appreciate today, and you appreciate tomorrow, and you appreciate every day you get because of that. And I think a lot of people are kind of resonating with that. Who is that? I want to talk to them.
I was laughing because you were talking about death and the inevitable door, and I just see everybody in the crowd being like smiling along, like yeah,
no. Listen, these are not stupid.
Old.
These are not stupid people. We all know. I'm not. It's not like Game of Thrones. I didn't give you guys a fucking spoiler, right? Like, you guys know. We know how it's gonna end.
So before the album comes out, can you talk a little bit about how these songs came together, both in terms of the writing process as well as working with the the amazing Butch Walker, who
Butch.
did a lot of this album.
So I think I've been writing this record since the last solo tour, really. Maybe the first solo, like since I was touring for the last solo record. So I've been like over 3 or 4 years just compiling songs. So there's a whole group of songs that are out there that never made the record and will probably never see the light of day, and some maybe will in future years. But then it was about sitting with Butch, because I told everybody, I would do interviews, and they would say, so like, what are you doing next year? And I would go, I'm making a record with Butch Walker. And I never told Butch about it. I was just like, yeah, I'm making a... So I had this idea that if I just manifest destiny, right? If I just tell everybody enough times, he would have to do it, because then he's the asshole, right? And so I called him up, and I was like, I think we saw him, where was it? Matt just reminded me. We saw him at like Blythedale, and he was doing something with another artist, and I came in and I was like, oh, by the way, next year we're making a record together. But he's been a friend of mine for a long time. I've always admired him. I admire his aesthetic. I admire the way he goes about things. We share so many of the same friends, like him and I have known each other since back when he was in a band called the Marvelous Three, like back in the early 90s. He's a great singer-songwriter in his own right, which is a challenge, I think, for me. Like Matt Serletic is a great writer, and he's an amazing musician, an amazing producer. But there's something about just sitting with someone who like makes records that I admire and I'm jealous of, and like getting in a room with him and going, okay, well here's all my songs, and him going, yeah, nope, nope. But I think it was his meter. When you hire a producer, you're hiring their point of view. Yeah. And so I hired his point of view and his aesthetic, for lack of a better word. And I think that we knew immediately. Like we started working on actually, I Love It. Pardon me. I Love It was the first song. I wrote that song with my son Mason when he came over. He was visiting. We were in the studio and we wrote it, and I had it sitting for like 2 years as a demo, and it didn't have any lyrics, but it was exactly the way it is on the record, just with no lyrics. It was just like, you're saying I'm out here, don't see no here, then in another, just kind of slurring drunken stuff. And that was my son. And then weird story. So we got a call that the guys in the movie Deadpool 2 were looking for a song, and they reached out to see if I wanted to write a song, and I was like, I have a song. So I called Butch from like an airport in Orlando, and I was like, Butch, I'm going to send you a song. This is what we'll start with. Let's just do this. And I sent it to him, and the next day he sends me this track, like just as it is. And I went and I wrote the lyrics on the car ride from LaGuardia to my house. I was sat writing the lyrics on my laptop, and then I went and did them that night. Spoiler alert. It did not make the film. I'm not bitter. I'm not okay with it. I'm somewhere in between bitter and okay with it. But it was a kickstart. So it got us off to a start, and we knew, like I knew that I had One Less Day that I was really, really excited about. I wanted that on the record, and then we knew we had I Love It. And it was like, okay, everything in between that, like those were our 2 poles to kind of work at.
Yeah. Just please know that I'm picturing you on your couch watching Deadpool 2 and shaking your fist at the screen.
I was like, I'm just every song.
I don't
I'm like,
love it.
I'm like, every song could have been better. Could have been better. Could have been. I mean, it was a good movie. Could have been better. I know about like 3 minutes that could have made that movie fucking shine.
Can you talk a little bit about when you're writing songs in general, either for this album or just in general, how it works? Do you ever have that moment of, oh, this could be better? I'm gonna save this for Matchbox and see what the Matchbox guys think of this, or are you just completely locked into, I'm in solo mode? Let's go. Like this is what this is.
No, it's
about.
not. It's never about solo or Matchbox. I'm writing
You're just
all
writing.
the time, and then if it's Matchbox, any song, now Matchbox is made up of a lot of songs from a lot of the guys in the band. Any song that I write that goes to Matchbox is just a diary of where I've been since the last time I wrote songs. Like I don't really think it out that way, and I can't imagine having the hubris to do something like that, because at the end of the day, like I don't know what tomorrow is, and I always say, and I mean this in the most uplifting way. I don't mean this in a gloomy way, but like I don't want to die with my best songs in my pocket. So if I have a good song and I think it belongs somewhere and I want people to hear it, if I'm working on something, I'm going to get it out there and I want people to hear that song. And then it only inspires me to, if I get with Matchbox, I already have a built-in thing because if I get with Matchbox, I've got to impress those guys, and they know everything about me. So I've got to come into a room with something because Paul will look me in the eye and go, "That sucks," And he has on many occasions, and I think that's where that bar becomes. So I think you just write all the time, and then you just have songs to kind of choose from.
You a couple minutes ago, you name dropped Carlos, as in Carlos Santana.
It's not name dropping if you just have it like that.
Yeah, I mean, look, I'm impressed every time you do it. We were upstairs, you said Carlos. I was like, oh my God, he's talking about Carlos Santana. It's the 20th anniversary of Smooth. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's the 20th anniversary of Smooth.
Everybody in the room, take 1 second. Think about how old that makes you feel. Multiply that by 5. And that's how Carlos feels.
Can you talk a little bit about how integral he's been, not only in giving feedback for your more recent records, but just over the course of your career?
Well, first, I mean, when I first met him and we were strangers and we recorded this song together, and I think everything really kicked off because when we did Smooth, we did record it together. It wasn't like done across the miles. I went to San Francisco. I sat in a room with him and the band, and everything on there was live on the floor, And then the next day, I sang my vocals and he did his guitar, and we spent 2 days just really getting to know each other. And then we wound up spending a lot of time together during the promotion of Smooth, and we kind of got each other. And I think I understood him for all that he was, and he understood me for all the deficits in between what I could be, And I think he saw this kid who was like, I mean, at the time we had sold like 13 million records, so I thought I was a really big deal, and I wasn't. Like we were some guys that sold a lot of records for one record, and we bought the ticket to take the ride. We thought we were on the ride, but that was really just the entrance. It's like when you go to the haunted house at Disney and you stand in the room and you think that's the ride, and you're like, oh no, there's a whole other thing going on behind here. You just got to get through this. And he taught me the difference between being a famous musician and being a celebrity. He taught me the difference between, that the only thing you control are your motives, your intention, and your purpose. And if you control those things and those things are as pure as they can be, then everything is going to be what it is, and you can't control any other outcome. And we've had that conversation many, many times, sober and drunk. And it's become, him, also Clive Davis. Through that relationship with Clive Davis, yeah. Clive was like one of the first people to hear this record when it was done. And having those two guys who are just mountains in the industry has been a really big thing. Like I have a good group of people. I have Michael Littman's my manager. He's been for 20 years. He's a legend in the business. I have Julie Greenwald, the president of Atlantic. I have Pete Gamberg, who actually, it's funny, Pete was the head of A&R at Arista when we did Smooth. He put that whole Supernatural record together, and now years later, he's the head of A&R here at Atlantic, and we're working together again. Like, I just have a very good group of people to lean on, and a lot of that came from that relationship.
Which is amazing, and 20 years later, the song obviously still resonates, one of the biggest hits of all time.
Yeah, Carlos, just literally last night I was in the city doing a bunch of promo, and as I'm driving back, I'm getting this text because he's listening to the new song and just like, brother, he's like, so it's so easy. It's so easy to be crass. It's so easy to be cynical. He's like, but man, to show love, that's big.
Well, speaking of showing love, I want to get to the fan questions in a second. My last question for you is, as part of this Songkick experience, we have a bunch of super fans in the building today. What is that? If you can talk a little bit about that support of years and years of support over multiple projects, over multiple eras, and of your life and of your career, what that support means to you.
I think one of the biggest things about it, I mean, we look out and we know each other. We know these faces. But I think the biggest thing is the ability to it's a long road musically and otherwise from 3 a.m. and to Lonely No More, to One Less Day, to I Love It, just through Smooth. It's an amazing thing. Like, not everybody gets lucky enough to come out with a first record and that record do that well. And then if it does that well, you're so cemented in that usually the fans that got you to that place don't want to see change. And they don't want to watch you do any kind of other thing. They want to see you do that thing over and over until they get tired of it. And then they want to move on to something else. And I have a group of people for the last 20 years that have been really excited when I try something new. They've been really excited if I sound a little different. They're excited about what it might sound like when the new record comes out, you know? That is a gift because not everybody gets that for myriad reasons. I mean, not everybody gets that because not everybody gets to do it for this long, and not everybody gets to have fans who are going to stick around that long, you know? But that gift that's given, I think, is never lost on me. It's never lost on Matchbox. It's never lost on the people that I'm making music with. But at the same time, there's a freedom that comes with that because I can just follow a whim. I can be like, this is the song I hear in my head right now, and I never go, are my fans going to like it? Are they going to buy it? Because at the end of the day, I'm just like, well, if it's a good song, they're going to like it. Yep. You know, I can wrap it up any way I want. I can, you know, take a left turn, take a right turn. But if it's a good song and I think it's a good song, and we've been together long enough that if I think it's a good song, some of you are going to think it's a good song. We have, you know, we have shared tastes on that kind of thing.
Yeah. It's a great answer.
What's up? Oh, man, look at that.
Look at that.
And by the way, that never sounds better than it does with a fucking New York accent right there. That's like the best.
We are.
Or is that Jersey? Or is that Jersey? I don't want to throw you over the river on.
All right, well, we got to get to some fan questions. We got a bunch of really great questions from fans.
Are they?
I would never lie to you, Rob. I will say apologies if I mispronounce any names. My last name is Lipshutz, so I understand the perils of mispronunciations. You got Rob Thomas.
Yeah, no, I got it so easy.
Okay, first one is from Debbie Manson. What is the weirdest thing a fan has ever given you? I want to know this too.
I don't want to say weird. Weird's a bit bad. I don't like weird or crazy are two words I try not to use too much.
Surprising? Most surprising
is good.
Thing?
When we first started out, a guy tried to give Paul his wife.
I didn't think that was the end of the sentence.
In all fairness, I think it was a loner. I had a girl want me to sign her birth control pills one time. That's weird. I can use that word for that.
Sure. I think that applies.
Yeah.
Daryl Sudlow wants to know, what artist would you most love?
The whole group. Did anybody else ask questions?
What artist would you most love to collaborate with? Because obviously you've collaborated with so many artists, but who's still on the bucket list?
You know, it's hard to say. I mean, it was always Willie. And when I got to write with Willie, I kind of felt like asking for anything else is greedy, you know? I mean, honestly, it was Butch Walker. And then, you know, and I got to work with Butch. Like, I think that maybe, I always joke around that, like, you know, I don't want to work with Bono. I want to work with The Edge because if I work with The Edge, I can be Bono for 15 minutes.
Get the sunglasses.
Yeah, I could do the whole thing. Like I got to do on my first record, I had Mike Campbell from Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers play on like 2 or 3 songs, and I swear, like every time I hear it, I feel like Rob Thomas and the Heartbreakers for 3.5 minutes.
Dustin Weiss wants to know, how involved are you with your own set design, music videos, album artwork? You can see the album cover right here. I'm curious, like how much, because some artists are really, really hands-on about every single detail, and I know other artists who are just like, that's fine, looks cool.
I think sometimes annoyingly so.
Okay.
In that, like, I know there's a lot of people that me and my manager had to fight to make this happen at first, because you know, the last thing anybody wants is trying to sell your record is a record with your back turned to it, like you don't care. I think we have a good group, me and my management. Everything that happens passes through this filter, you know? Like, and we've been very fortunate to have that kind of freedom in that the music we make, the records we make are the records we want to make, and then we bring that in and we get to work that. The album artwork that we choose is the stuff that we choose. The photographers we want are the people that we choose. When we go on tour, we've been sitting now for how long, guys? Like for months and months, right? A year, working on this set that you guys are going to see this summer. When we go out, like it's all together and trying to make it different. Now, I will be honest. Nobody is as meticulous as Paul Doucette in Matchbox world. Like, and it's something that he loves. He loves design and he loves those things. So he is very meticulous over every color, over every frame, over you know. But everything that you do, every video, every everything that you guys have ever seen, it goes through us and it passes. You're getting it from me, you're getting it from our management. Like, we've come together as a team to make that happen. And I think that's important because I think everything that you do is an extension, artistically or otherwise, of what you are. And I think it would be disingenuous if it was just, here, let me write songs that mean a lot to me, but then let me make every other thing you see have nothing to do with me.
It's a great answer.
Thanks, man. Thanks, Nick told me what to say. Thanks, Nick.
Next question. We've got 2 more questions. Janelle Braun wants to know, and I'm glad someone asked about this. Since you started the Sidewalk Angels Foundation, how many animals have you successfully housed?
You know, I couldn't even say. I know that a few years ago it was tens of thousands. I think it's much, much more now. But it's, again, Sidewalk Angels is more of a conduit than it is. It's stop. You know what I mean? It's not a destination.
Sure.
Like it is. We work with so many places. Like, we work with the Sato Project in Puerto Rico. We help facilitate for them to be able to go to Puerto Rico, and we help get the rescues, and we help build the no-kill shelters that they wind up at, and we help get the transportation. We help those things happen, but those things happen because of the organizations that we support. So Sidewalk Angels will go out and support Bully Breeds, or Sidewalk Angels will go out and support Pets Alive or our Sato Project. Those things it's just like a partnership that kind of happens. So I don't know that we can take a responsibility for it. You know, but I know that my wife gets a lot of responsibility, her and her mother Maria, for the diligence that they have in making sure that these things get done and making sure that the people have the proper resources to do them when they need to do them.
You guys are doing great work. Give it up for just that. Last question, because we're running short on time. This one comes from John Petruniak. Again, if I mispronounce that, I'm sorry.
Right?
My
Was
last
right?
name is Lipshutz. I promise you, I understand. What award or achievement has meant the most to you?
Grammys are nice. I think People's Choice Award. I think having that. Oh no, I'm sorry. Of course, it was People's Sexiest, Most 50th Sexiest People. I mean, because I worked so hard at that, and all the work paid off, and I felt like that really showed who I was as an artist when I sexed myself up on People magazine.
Yeah, of course.
No, I think the People's Choice Award. I think that means a lot for obvious reasons. Yeah,
of course. Well, the very sexy Rob Thomas. Please give it up for him. No, in all seriousness, congrats on the album that's out tomorrow. I'm sure everyone in this room is going to check it out. Everyone watching, and thank you, Rob. Thank you, Rob, for your time. Thank you guys for watching.
good to see you again.